learned a lot of different techniques throughout your years of math to figure out information, solve problems, find out how much money something's going to cost, whatever the case may be. It's to use it. It's not just so that you can tell me the value of X. I really don't care about the value of X. I want you to be able to use how to get to X for something. Now,
so we just put this in.
this will go in your notes, yep. Items 1, 2, and 3 are actually just practicing understanding how to set equations up. And the 4th and the 5th one are real world problems that we will encounter here in just a second. This is your notes. Yep. These 5 samples are your notes. You can look in your textbook. They do have 2 additional samples for you that you can use. But for right now, we're going to use these items here. The instructions at the top of this very well-designed worksheet that I made says use the 5-step plan. What the 5-step plan in your textbook is answering the problem using a thought process. That thought process was back on page 27. First, it was figure out what it wants. Second, it was assign variables, set up an equation. 4th was solve, 5th was check. All of those things can be found on page 27 if you want to go back and look for what the 5 steps were. I'm not going to talk about them in terms of steps. Just be aware that you need to understand what it is you're looking for. Starting with this first one. 6 less than 5 times a number is 74. Find the number. Well, this would be step 1. They want to know what number will satisfy the given sentence above. 6 less than 5 times a number. So is it 6 minus 5n or 5n minus 6? That seems to be the confusion. Yeah. It is 6 fewer than. 6 fewer than. Fewer than what? 5 times a number. 6 fewer than. 6 fewer than what? 5 times a number. That equals 74. 6 less than 5 times a number. If it said 6 minus 5 times a number, then it would be 6 minus 5n. But what this literally says, 6 fewer than, 6 littler than, 6 littler than. If you're 14, you are 30 fewer than me. Okay? 30 fewer than me. It wouldn't be you minus me, it would be me minus you. Okay? To solve this, first you're going to get rid of your addition or subtraction step using inverse of what it shows. In this case, it shows subtraction, so the inverse is addition. After you've done that, you end up with 80. Next, you're going to do the inverse of whatever is shown here, multiplication or division. Since this means multiplication, we're going to do division. The number that answers this question is 16. Number 2 is phrased the exact same way. It'll almost look the exact same way. 8 less than 1/2 a number. So is it 8 minus 1/2 n? Or is it 1/2 n minus 8? Yep. 8 less than, so 8 smaller than. 8 smaller than what? 8 smaller than 1/2 of whatever the number is. All of that is equal to -44. Make sure you're copying this down. I know a lot of it comes intuitively to you, but I want you copying this down anyway. Now we're back to using the inverse operation. Since it says subtract, we're going to add.
-36.
Yep. Now, this is where some people might get a little bit confused. This means 1/2 multiplied by something. 1/2 of something is -36. You might know right off the bat that the answer is -72. You can't divide by a fraction, which would be the inverse, but you can multiply by the fraction's reciprocal, which is 2, or 2 over 1. That gives us n equaling -72. Okay, find the number. We've done that. The number is -72. Find 4 consecutive evens whose sum is equal to 100. Okay, 4 consecutive evens or odds. You set them up the same way because they stay even as long as you continue to add 2 to them. Or they stay odd as long as you continue to add 2 to it. So the first one is n. The second one is n plus. The next one is n plus. And the last one is n plus. Anybody know? 6. Those are the 4 consecutive even integers. Those are the 4 consecutive even integers, but we want to know their sum, which means we're going to add all of these together. Their sum equals 100. We want to know the list of 4 consecutive even integers whose sum is 100. So you should have, after you combine your n's, you have 4 of them, right? You have 4 n's. And now you can add your numbers together. You have 12. You cannot combine 4n with 12 because 4n is a variable, 12 is a constant. Add, subtract, we're going to subtract 12. Did you come up with n being equal to 22? After you've divided by 4? 4 times what number is 88? Well, the number is 22. If you give me that, I'm going to mark it wrong. Why am I going to mark it wrong? Look at what it asks for. Justice. Yep. You need to tell me the entire answer. It wants to know the 4 consecutive evens. It wants to know the 4 consecutive evens. I can check myself by plugging in these numbers. I can also check myself, what if I had 23, 25, 27, and 29, and I checked it and it added together to equal 100? What's wrong with that answer? What if 23 plus 25 plus 27 plus 29 really is 100? Doesn't that satisfy the answer as well?
Yeah, because it has to be even.
It has to be evens. So be very careful about that. Because it doesn't work anyway. But I just was curious. But because you have to actually have, well, what about 21? Hold on, let's see.
Yeah.
21 plus 23 plus 25 plus 27. 96. No, it doesn't work. But if you found 4 odds that added together to equal 100, you'd be wrong because you want even. So be very, very aware of what you're reading and answering, okay? All right. Tom has read 143 out of 251 total pages in a book. So the total is 251. He has already done with 143. If he reads 12 per day, his rate is 12 per every day. How long will it take him to finish reading the book? What'd you come up with? You're right, it is 9. So, to set this up, what's already been read added to what he's going to read every day. So 12 times 1 would be 12 additional pages. 12 times 2 would be 24 additional pages. Because D, we're using for the number of days. That has to equal the total number of pages in the book of 251. What are we going to add or subtract? I wrote it a little weird on purpose. Samaria. Yep, she's right. Even though that is not, doesn't have a positive symbol in front of it, or it's not in the second spot, this is still a positive number because there is no negative sign there, so it's understood. Okay? After you subtract, you get 108. After you divide, you should have ended up with 9. And since D equals days, the answer is 9 days. Okay? The longest side of a triangle is 3 more than twice the shortest side. And the remaining side is 2.4. Okay. Before I even do anything with this, these are baffling to a lot of us.
Like 3 more, that would mean like
3 bigger than.
3 centimeters?
It doesn't matter. Yeah, I guess it is centimeters. That's supposed to be a triangle. So this is the small side. Let's call this the medium side. And let's call this the large side. The longest side, so that's this bottom piece. The longest side is 3 more than, that's plus 3, 3 more than twice the shortest side. Let's call the shortest side S for shorty. If it's 3 more than double that, then that's 2s plus 3. How do I know that? Because that first sentence says the longest side, which I just labeled it so that I can talk about it. The longest side of a triangle is 3 bigger than double the shortest side. So I called the shortest side S. I called this side that. And the remaining side, which has to be the medium, is 2.4 centimeters. Find the lengths of all 3 sides, small, medium, large, if the perimeter is 12. How am I going to set this up to solve for perimeter? What do you think?
Parentheses 2s plus 3 parentheses plus s plus 2.4
2s plus 3 added to the little guy added to 2.4 is 12. He's right. If we combine our s's, which we can do quite nicely, we get that. If we combine our numbers, we end up with 5.4. Ugh, has to be a decimal, huh? 12 minus 5.4, what do you get? Hmm?
6.7.
Yeah, that's what I thought you said.
Not bad. 1.
So that means 1s is 2.2. Now hold on a second. All that tells us is the value of the small side.
2.2.
This guy is 2.2. This guy, double that, 8.8, right? We gotta double it. Huh? 4.4, I mean. 7.4, yes.
4.4.
Double this, which is 4.4 plus 3. So the sides are 2.2, 7.4, and thank you. 2.2. The medium is 2.4. The large is 7.4. We can check ourselves by adding them together, making sure that we actually got the perimeter of 12. 4, 8, 9, 10. So 0, carry the 1. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We're good. So there's your solution set. 2.2, 2.4, and 7.4.